Okay. We can call the meeting to order at 7:01. Can you please raise the state of pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Roll call meeting, please.
We have Kate Lopelot, Megan Wicks,
Here.
Kathy Grant,
Here.
Erica Kalwar,
Here.
Valerie Musciano,
Yeah.
Sarah Thompson, and Christopher Wilson are not present. Also present is Miss Adam Burrows, Amy Cefaletto, Jody Grenier, Fire Marshal. So, and we have a few citizens here as well.
For all for it. Okay, as we do for every meeting, we shall, I'll recite the Volunteer Board of Education mission statement. The Volunteer Board of Education's mission is to provide our students the skills essential to reach their highest potential in a safe environment for learning as they aspire to become responsible, respectful, and civic-minded members of society. We commit to help educate, challenge, and inspire each child to excel as lifelong learners who can adapt constructively in an ever-changing, multicultural, and technological world. Okay, we open for citizens' comments if there are any.
None. None others received. No.
None received. Okay. We can move on to our guest, Fire Marshal Jody Grenier is visiting with us today. We had our building committee meeting on Wednesday, 3 p.m. and Jody was able to join us there. And we felt that it was great for him to give us as a committee an update, but obviously we've had a lot of concerns to the board generally and from the public and so forth on timeline of how urgent the fire panel project will be, considering that it was kind of identified as something that we should look to update and improve upon. And then we just wanted to have the professionals come in and you're always definitely professional, but then we're going to move forward with other professionals to get opinions on exactly what we want to kind of invest in and pursue in terms of the bells and whistles that we could use for these kind of technologies that are also included in a fire alarm system. So with that.
Correct. Going to that meeting, somehow it went from, you folks need to think about updating your fire alarm at a point. And I guess it went into code red where they thought it was going to break tomorrow. Currently, it is working, it's been tested, it is fine. Unfortunately, it's 34 years old. That's where the issue lies. You could get another 5, 8 years, or it could go tomorrow. There was a proposal that Brian had gone out and spoke to a contractor to replace devices. My thing was, if you just replace the devices, you're tying them into an old panel. And then if the panel goes, you might not be able to get a panel that's updated because it's 34 years old, and the new devices might not talk to the old device. So you got to really be careful. So with that in mind, I had suggested that we go out and start thinking about looking at replacing fire alarm panel at some point. It's not an emergency. I want that clear. If it was an emergency, that'd be a whole different story. But it is not. It's currently working fine, everything tested out, devices are working. But again, some of these devices in this building are 34 years old. It's like your laptop. You know, after a while, you have to throw it away as much as you need to because it's 9th generation or whatever. And the same thing with that fire alarm panel. Another thing is we have this new thing with everybody, you know, domestic violence and active shooter. The fire alarm panel can be your biggest savior of the day due to the fact is most fire alarms in today's world, they have the speakers and strobes. The speakers make a lot of loud noise and the strobes get your attention. Well, if you get the new modern updated ones, you can get a speaker and you can actually use it as a PA system. You can basically, you can tell someone there's a storm in the area, if you're getting ready to load the bus, you can use it to tell people to stay in place. And also in case of domestic violence or something along those lines, it's attached. A lot of the doors are on magnets. And I know every different compartment, there's what, 4 different additions on this school? And they're all separated by fire doors and they're all on magnets. So you can take it and compartmentize whatever area you want. There's a lot of different things that you can do with today's technology. And that panel, like I said, is 34 years old. So it's time. My thing was, Brian had gone out and talked to a contractor. It's like going to GM and asking them what car you want to buy. They're gonna sell you whatever they want to sell you. I believe a project of this size, you should go out to an engineering, architectural, or a design team that doesn't sell fire alarms, or even if they do, but somebody needs to look at the system, decide what you need, make sure it's gonna meet the current codes, and then you put it out to bid.
Jody,
And that could be expensive.
yeah, I don't want to interrupt you, but just today, I did get in touch with Al Jakunski. And he's a very fine architect who has come in and done a number of projects for us. And I said, do you have an engineering services that can come in and assess what the situation is? So tomorrow, for no cost, he's arranged for an architectural engineer from up in, the Hartford area to come visit with us, and he's going to go around the school and he will look at how he sees this and what's happening. And he is an engineer, and you've worked with Al, so he's pretty comprehensive. But they would propose, there's no cost for tomorrow, but they would develop a proposal for how they would help us out. And Brian is looking at somebody, and there's a third person that we might look at as well. But this is following through with your recommendations when you came into the building committee the other day. You want design drawings, you want updated versions, and you want somebody that's current. So this is just developed in the last few hours. But I really wanted to move on this to be proactive with what you were saying the other day.
Okay.
Yeah, and I took what he was saying is, a lot of these companies can be more, these are our bells and whistles, this is what it costs, throws everything at you, and it can be more than what we need. It's better to have somebody that's outside and get their opinion on, well, you don't need this yet, or you do need this for, for the amount of, or it'll be A, B, and C, here are your options.
So do we think that everything is gonna have to be rewired in order to put this in? Like, is the electrical updated enough in the system that we have?
As a fire marshal, I'm not qualified to tell you that. But it's like putting a new motor in your car and using the old plugs. You gotta be careful. And this is an expensive adventure. So I just want to make sure we're 100% sure. They might come in and say, your current wiring is the same. A lot of them use fiber now. So that's what they do. And my job as a fire marshal is to make sure it meets the current codes and then make sure the installation is to code and that it tests at the end of the job, it tests out.
Is it possible if we, if we needed to look at it in like phases, right? Like we need to update the electrical and then like we needed to do it in multiple phases over, we'll say like 5 years or something like that. It won't evolve so much that we've kind of like got behind, will it? Or
Well, the problem that you have is, again, once you decide which product you're gonna go with on the fire alarm panel, you have to have devices that are gonna be able to talk to that. A lot of them are addressable. Now you come in and it might tell you what wing it's in, and you gotta go around and look and see what device was tripped. They all got little blinking lights in them, so that's how we find out which device went off. A new system is all addressable, it'll tell you what room it's in, and so you might not have a choice that it's either all in or nothing. I'm not sure, that's again what they do. But if they're gonna put in the latest and greatest panel, the devices have gotta be able to talk to it. And that's what they do.
The engineer would tell us that, right? Engineer. Look at it.
There might be like the asbestos with the multi-phases.
Well, I mean, right, upfront, I think a big ticket item.
But if we put it in a couple year plan,
Right,
and
we
start
have-
putting the money away for it now, especially if it's not a dire emergency today. Right, and we start putting it away, and then what, worst case scenario, let's say it does go down. At least you have a chunk of money already put aside toward that. And then you have to figure out how to facilitate the rest of it.
You just don't want them, if it goes down and they can say, oh, we can replace the panel, but they want $50,000.
Mhm,
At what point do you want to pump money into something, put good money at bad one?
mhm, mhm.
Cause that's what we originally kind of
That's the
thought
way
it was like, it's emergent, we're having
Right.
fire drills, like,
Yeah.
things are going off, like, could be like, you guys know this is happening, people in the room know that there's thing, about it, and then they were able to fix it, and, like, do certain things and patch it, and what we all do in our house when things get lumpy. But, then it was like, oh, the fire panel costs about 50 grand, and then
The
to
wire
kind of
is,
really
right.
take it into all
It's
consideration.
just the fire panel.
Right.
That's what-
Yeah, it gets pretty costly, that's why when he told me, this is what, got me thinking, is when he said 50,000. I've overseen a few projects, a couple $1 billion worth. And you ain't getting anything done for $50,000 of the caliber that needs to be done.
Well, it's good to just wrap our heads around it, because, it was probably
Yeah.
6 months ago that it was, a small
Kind of present.
item, a smallish item.
No, yeah, again, there was, I did not want to go code red.
Yeah.
At all, I mean, when they're talking the other day at the meeting, they go, we got concerned parents and board is upset, I'm going, it's not that bad, I don't know where they got off the rails. But
Yeah.
all I simply said is, we need to start thinking about it.
And at some point, it might be tomorrow or the next day, either way, then we can think about it, but it still could pop up tomorrow and hopefully.
If we go again for 5 years and not live.
Hopefully, we can put some money this year aside and then next year have a chunk and go forward without needing a huge.
With all the stuff going on in the country, I wouldn't be surprised they start putting out grants for some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think.
I'm surprised I haven't
Yeah.
already, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
We've been looking around, but Jody, according to Al Jakunski, this could be treated as the engineering firm develops RFPs for us and takes us through the whole bid process, like you were saying the other day. But this doesn't have to be the company that we go to, but at least it's a start, and we can come back with some concrete facts for the
Right.
building
What we
committee to
deal.
consider. And we might wind up also having proposals from other companies to guide this whole process under engineering specs.
Yeah, it has to meet codes and standards, and they're aware with it, that's how they make their living, they're very good at what they do.
Yeah.
But I just didn't want to see us going to a contractor.
Well,
And because that's a bad idea.
Well, I appreciate your coming into the building committee the other day because we've had to make some quick repairs on the fire panel. And I think, based on what you said the other day, you put it in perspective as far as, we do have, some time to review this and to get this done properly, and I appreciate that. And I thank you, for also coming in, this evening to answer any questions that board members might have.
Okay. Any questions? Pretty cut and dry, really.
Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure there was nobody upset and thinking, the sky's falling, because it's not.
Well, that, I mean, we feel better at the meeting, because it was, it's more of like, we were saying that.
Yeah.
The building committee has priorities of like the different things that we're trying to either account for or work with the town on, and like the generator, for instance, is something that's.
Operation costs.
Yeah, and it's kind of it's close to failing, it's at 30 years, so it's like. And we're figuring out solutions, but where we're putting money towards things like that, and fire panels important, it's the safety of the kids, so in the school and staff and everyone, so. We kind of collectively think it's a top priority, it's just how we want to It's not going down, which is good, but it is still a must do.
You're keeping the back of your mind, yeah.
Just as a little sidebar to this, our budget passed yesterday, but we had money in the repair account for emergency repairs. But if we don't need to make emergency repairs, then we might be able to pay for, a structural engineer who develops the plan, who assesses the system. And then we can look at a timeline for best implementing that, whether it be short-term or long-term. But we have a building committee that's actively reviewing this. We have Jody as a resource. And, we hopefully, even by the next board meeting, we might be able to come up with, kind of a little plan of action so that we can have some reassurances that everything is safe and it's okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Everybody have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, Jody. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jody. Okay, moving along, we had a consent agenda. Is there any part of it or that wants to discuss, or should we have a motion to approve as presented? Okay, on favor? Aye. So opposed, heard, so motion passes. Moving on to the administrative report, starting with the principal report.
Since we're a week early from our normal meeting, I'll just kind of go through what's gonna happen this week, next week and next week. So we had field day, which was a really beautiful day, field day was a lot of fun. We had, 8th grade, they did a lot of their trips this past week. That comes to a close, so Monday morning, we will have our DARE graduation, we've done that program again. We're doing that, I was in 6th grade here, so it's been a long time. So they're always great about coming out and doing that program with our kids. And then our ceremony is 9:30, so we're ending the year awards on Tuesday, and then Tuesday night. So we're just kind of wrapping up. One of the components that I talked to Tom about, and I just want you to be aware that it looks like breakfast will not be free again next year. So I asked him what his anticipated thought was on cost. And he's thinking it's probably gonna be around $225. So just something that when he comes to the next board meeting to know that his latest information is leading towards no free breakfast, which is very, very unfortunate because we have a lot of kids that get breakfast in the morning, even if they eat breakfast, they like to get breakfast. And we actually had our breakfast with Mrs. Germany this morning. And the kids that didn't even have her, they think that she's just special, so they went in and had breakfast too, so they're like, yeah. All these little kids, and I'm like, this is why we don't have breakfast in here, because like, muscle up, you gotta go, you gotta get moving. No, it's free from that, yes, yeah, but not. And so I would assume if it's not breakfast isn't gonna be free again, then they did the reduced kids as free this year also. But I'm sure that'll go back to actually reduce the prices more for 40 cents. Which is too bad, and I do think that, it's kind of just a failure of the system that, there are kids out there whose parents do, make enough money, but still can't afford lunch, and it's expensive, for some, so, it's just unfortunate that the entire system kind of doesn't put kids as a priority for free lunch or breakfast. As we wrap up on the 14th in the afternoon, we'll be doing our grade level and meetings again, so we started doing those already, and then Monday, the 17th, we have our new math series. professional development, so we're actually gonna utilize that day for those K-5 teachers. So it's exciting to have a day at the end of the year because you're really trying to wrap up all these things and get ahead so that way then they can plan for the summer, so it actually works to our benefit to have that day as a peak. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And the end of my report, I just did make note, it's June, just about Mike Creatoro, he's done a really great job for tech for us this year. I mean, there's just so many integral pieces of that department that he, had really come into, and worked on for us and going into the summer. They've talked about report cards and revamping, so those are things that, he's worked on. Brian Callio, he's worked short staff almost this entire year. He's done a lot of hard work in getting our building ready. He's working on a massive shredding project for us. We've had some old records in our basement, some very, very early 350s that's still been stored here. So we posted for them. Yeah, so we posted, you have to get, there's like a certain thing, like 30 days, etc. We have a lot of like old records that it's time that they like filing cabinets just full of stuff, so we're working on this because of indoor air quality, what's located down there. It's interesting.
Basement.
How do you get there? So, where our trophy case is?
Yeah.
Like when you look across, there's like a little alleyway, right around there's a door, or where the junior high boys bathroom is, there's a door not connected to. We keep that one locked, we want to go. That one, down on the side, you go down, and it's like down, it's like all different rooms. So you don't want to be down there by yourself, kind of crazy, but, there's a different floor. It's like, it's not like, I don't know, it's cement, it's
Little, it's very like narrow. And
it's very narrow, yeah.
these pipes definitely have asbestos in them.
Yeah. It's not, I don't know, Ryan likes to be there, like.
Called in too.
Well, they probably want to get away from our stuff, that's probably why they probably don't. He's been great, and also in Mashawd Transportation, I mean, we're so short staffed bus drivers, I had somebody ask me why we couldn't do the third grade trip once they got canceled, and the reality is, all of these other field trips, we have high school exams, we have transportation, the outplacements, they're coming back early, etc., because of all their schedules, and like, we're gonna reschedule, like, there's no time left, with somebody extra, so. It'd be really important to try to keep pushing, get, hiring people to be able to come in and drive. I mean, those ladies really do, they've condensed runs, they've, taken on extra. So they've really done a good job doing that, but it becomes difficult, like, it's hard for them to take time off in that because, they don't have obligation to drive, so. Good appreciation to them, and to our school lunch program, Corinne and Christine, they really do. They love those kids and they feed them all day. Stop feeding them, all these extra things, but they really like to, especially the breakfast is a little bit more leniency, and like we have cinnamon buns, so like the line is very long for the cinnamon buns when they're there. But they really do a good job, and Corinne works a lot with Tom on what the kids like to eat and what they want to eat, so she really tries to just, if that's what they like, just feed them that, instead of trying all these concoctions that they don't want to eat, like, I don't want something all the times, like, oh, we tried chicken skewers once, that went in the trash. They didn't like that. Like, there's a lot of things that she will like really pay attention and do, and her and Christine are a really good team, so just want to highlight those people because they have worked all year.
Skewers are pretty good, they're healthy, like.
And that's what I'm saying, but
Chef, she's got a little bit of that dialogue,
yeah, a lot more.
Not
fruits and
chicken patty
vegetables.
every day, 'cause they will just say chicken
They
patty.
love chicken patty. I love chicken patty too, but. So, but like I said, all of them, well, that whole group of people, kind of the unsung people.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And they really do a good job.
And the bones to school.
Bones to school, they keep us here and
Yeah.
operational, so.
I know like you guys do, obviously appreciate the PTO to certain things, but if there's like ways that we can. Highlight certain, groups like that, and I just love to.
And that is something that, we've talked about, and it's hard because you don't ever wanna miss anybody.
Right,
No,
that's
you don't
like-
wanna miss anybody, but there are certain people that really do keep the train moving.
Absolutely.
Right. I included, my summer letter because it's time, it's done, it's there. Some of you will get that next week. And I think I think that's about it. Do you want me to go over the wage report?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Oh,
Just,
Can I have a
yeah,
question.
I was just going back to these.
Sorry, I got an email from Jackie. She just wanted to know, as far as graduation, how many seats and board members might attend, and if you would be speaking and
Yes, I can speak.
giving out diplomas. So she just wanted to know who wants to sit. Okay, thank you. I'll let her know. Sorry. Okay. It's fine.
I think
Thank
I'm
you.
elected.
Yeah.
Right. And I agree with my time limit. Doing it for as many years as I have, I'm kind of, ooh, it's fresh, it's new. I don't know. But
Any other questions about?
I was just
Regular ed?
thinking, I was thinking about, just the third grade, maybe a solution is that then fourth graders, when it's time next year,
Yeah.
they join them on that.
They are
piece of
going
the-
to. So they're thinking maybe the fall, to be able to do that, and they had to cancel because it was that day, it was weird, the windstorm and, it was, I was it too. In Voluntown. Well, the historical, but it was the outdoor one, yes.
Oh, that's good.
And it was like lightning and thunder projected it, and then it actually did, so I was like, I gotta be to go. It was like hail, and yeah.
That would not be stopping.
Yeah.
Trauma.
That would have been trauma, open field, hail coming down, so. But they sent a message to him about going in the fall, which I could probably be a really pretty time to go to the. And
That's what we did it with, I think with, well, my two younger ones, we did it all, but they did the whole thing in one day.
Yeah.
Which was, it was a lot, it was kind of like the break.
Yeah, and they had gone on a couple others already, so it's the one, last one, where they had to use the pill pen. Yeah.
Permission for the pen.
The
Yeah.
pen. Yeah.
Please.
And that's great about, we have a person that medaled in track, that's awesome.
Oh, Rowan, yeah, so Rowan, track coaches. Turbo javelin. We don't. We can't tell you. So Rowan did a real good job. Yeah. Great down at NFA. Crazy day, there's not the conference, so somebody,
Yeah.
It was a lot. Well, thank you very much to you, Amy, and to all the staff and everyone, the people you mentioned, and for a really successful, what I think is a successful 23-24 year, and it's just a very good year, but a lot's on your plate, and it's may sound where somebody like to call it, but
Yeah.
just all the things.
Yeah.
Well, now we're in June, but it feels like that's all of it, yeah. Thank you, Vanessa. Okay, so you're gonna.
I'm gonna do Lloyd's report. One of just the things in Dr. Johnson's report that I should highlight is that we will have summer school again this year for children who qualify for that. It'll be held 3 days a week, 9 to 11:30. Really worked with a special ed team, really, we're planning for kids to do during that time. A lot of times kids come for additional services, so that is helpful for them to maintain OT and PT or speech services, if they qualify for that during the summer months, for kids who are in high need of that. One of the other things is for special ed, we are working on our schedule for next year, so we worked through our master schedule already, we're a little bit ahead, just in planning where our services are best held for our teachers. So. Okay.
I like that we invite them to come to schools.
Yes, yep, those who need to be invited off.
Any further questions for, on that piece of it?
I could answer on the video.
Yeah. Move on to
Okay,
the report.
Let's see, my calendar of events for June, July, and August is included in the packet. The enrollment, right now, we have 127 high school students, 238 pre-K through 8th grades. there's a summary there that indicates we've returned 102,184, 182 to the town. There is a note in there for the town with regards to the transfer of the Toro lawnmower. And there is also just a note, the civil rights data collection that we're responsible for. The next page is a summary of how we pay for summer school. And if you can see down at the bottom right-hand column, the REAP grant pays for about 1,900. The Right to Read grant, which we wrote, pays for 2,500. ESSER 3, those are supposed to be expended by September 30th. And as you can see, we're using 7,200 in federal dollars to pay for that. The Board of Ed budget was 651. And then there was also another cost to the Board of Ed. So the summer school in total with the paras, transportation and other things was 12,400. Then we have the next page is a listing of just the summer school custodians. We hire part-time custodians to come in. We use existing staff, but they come in and they clean. And that is the cost of, the summer. So you can see that, some of the totals there. The next page is just some thank you notes to the students that received awards at the last board meeting: Chloe, Ella, Jet, and Cole. And then you have your policy highlights from Cade. And it's interesting. I received a report from CAPS. It was a legislative summary, and I started looking at it, and it was 128 pages long. I didn't copy it for you because, some of the things don't apply. But in years when you're saying, please, try to keep things a little bit, 128 pages long. If somebody would like to have a look at it, please let me know. I would most definitely send you a copy of that. I'm all set, Kate.
Okay. Any discussion for Adam? Any seconds? Thank you, Mr. Burrows, on that piece of the presentation. I think we can move on to old business. Hey, I actually are looking sharp here, it's 7:35, and we are through administration report, so kudos to us. As I'm saying that for budget. So yes, for budget proposal, I know we
Yeah,
worked pretty hard on this.
I just gave you a copy of the budget and the explanation that was given out at the town hearing. And I also gave you a 6-page summary of all of the details with regards to the budget. Please note that 7 years ago, the Board of Ed budget was 80.75% of the total town budget. And for next year, it is going to be 73.44%. So we have consistently, had a smaller, we went up just a little bit last year and the year before, but over the past 7 years, there has been a bit of a change with that. And then there's some other facts and figures in there, the cost of tuitions, summary of different things, summary of the COVID, and then it ends with the insurance. And of course, this year, the next year, the insurance, as of the enrollment right now, will be $16,911 less than it is this year because of health insurance. And then the salary went up just a little bit. I thought we were gonna have an increase of 5,400, but it was more like 8,200. And that's all of the certified salaries from this year to next. So this in effect means that our certified salaries and the health benefits for the whole school district are flat. For the minutes, I just want to put that a referendum was held at Town Hall on Wednesday, June 5th. And the budget was approved, and I listed the budget and just said, to express thank you to the town for their support for education, okay?
I echo that. Thank you for everyone showing up for the referendum and for showing up to the town meeting to support the board. It was really great to have every one of us present at the town meeting, just to answer questions and show support. So I appreciate town and people coming out for really respecting what we try to do here to put forth at least a spending plan of what we anticipate the needs are for the year and going forth with that. Okay. With that, I know your plan also includes a good summary of the grants that we've gone through for the year. I don't know if that was actually, it's a separate page in our packet. That was part of, I know we do a quick summary in the budget reviewing the grants, but one of the pages in our packet is pretty exhaustive list of all the ESSER funds, and just it's amazing to see how much we've been awarded and what we've been able to do with those things to improve our school system and CG.
There's a reason why I'm listing those grants. We have complied and made all deadlines for expending grants. And I've said it before, the state got $900 million plus, and they still have not spent $300 million. And I'm hopes that they turn around and they say, gee, let's open these funds up and make them available for the people that use them wisely. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed because we have a couple of projects that was, that we're reviewing, and we could definitely write about those and implement those as soon as possible. But this has been a blessing, and remember, we haven't supplanted, school funds with grants. Even using the ESSER fund, the ESSER funds for summer school, it was 7,300. Well, they go away next year, but we have other grants that we could look at. And quite frankly, the Board of Ed cost for summer school this summer is way down coming out of the budget. And we can use those funds in another area. So that flexibility, that's the flexibility that we can be creative about. That's all the grants do.
Thank you and your staff and all that are involved with doing that. It's not just, getting the money, it's applying and going through all the hassle it takes to get it done. So thank you. Okay, the capital improvement plan, I know we did a brief summary, obviously the progress of the fire panel update by Joey, which is ongoing.
I wrote something about the fire panel to show you what action we were taking. And then we had our building committee, and then we set up a visit by another company. We did have one company coming in. But, we decided that we would put them on hold. It's a very reputable company, has excellent reviews by other organizations for fire alarm panels. But we were able to follow through with what Jody said and Alan Jakunsky. And the building committee, of course, you have
We give a lot of money back to the town. And we asked them this year to be setting that aside fund for us for this project. Because that would pretty much tell me by the end of the year how much fund.
well, you know, that fund goes into the undesignated fund. Okay, let's see, there's two parts to the answer. First of all, right now, the remaining balances for this year's budget is gonna be about, well, I say 4 cents. We don't have anything really left over in this year's budget. It's been a very interesting year paying for those things. Now, the other thing is the funds that we return to the undesignated funds. If we need to, Kathy, we've helped build up the undesignated fund. And if we have a such a project and we needed to go to the town, like the fire panel, you know, if we get a cost and we put together some money from our Board of Ed, but we need an additional extra, then we can go back and the town would have a special allocation, you know, at a town meeting.
We shouldn't be trying to pick it out of pens and pencils and regular ones.
No, we're not taking anything away from the core, you know, budget that we have for education.
Saying we could fully get the money for that from the town, but either the designated fund, but they want to set it aside on online where it says capital improvement, or put it somewhere where we can draw it at the end of the year for that project.
Now, they only put in 85,000 for the generator. And then we got a quote from a contractor for 127,000. Well, we might have to go back and say to the town, we don't have that in our budget. Can you, you know, increase the allocation?
Trying to run a budget very tightly with not big expenditures without the town paying for things, big purchases like buses, panels, generators, roofs, like with the roof, oil tanks, etc. It just, those aren't things we can eke out of the day-to-day budget things. We probably have to go back to the town more frequently and try to get the money there rather than trying to eke it out and go on expenditure, you know, only towards the end of the year and stuff. So it's just long-term, we got more of these big projects coming, and I don't think we could really do it out of bond budget.
And that's why with the capital improvement plan, we keep on making adjustments, so we'll include that in the minutes. But as you can see, you know, the gymnasium HVAC system is gonna start right after when the kids leave. And so we have ESSER funds and we have HVAC funds that the town has given us. And then we have RFPs going out for the AC in the central office, kindergarten, special ed office, and perhaps some help in the library. And then we just talked about the fire panel replacement. At one time point, we're at 50,000. This says 60,000 to 100,000. And, you know, it could be quite a lot more. And then we need some central office repairs. That's a kind of a long-term type of thing. And then we've had some security and electrical panel upgrades that we're looking at. The gym stage curtain and then the gym sliding door. But these are the projects. Now, I did not write about the buses, but the transportation committee is reviewing those so that, you know, we can, as we develop our budget, we're going to keep these things in the back of our mind and how we're going to fund them.
I think we're on the same page. I think it's just coming out of the, you know, that budget meeting, their current balance is zero. So we just, as long as we're gonna be very connected about what our plan is and where they can help us. Yeah. Agreed. Okay. So, NFA contract.
Yes. Okay, the partner school districts have been meeting and editing this agreement. And this is the agreement, Megan, for you and Amy. I'm sorry, oops. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, here we go. And okay, let's see, Bosborough has already approved this. It was in their Board of Med meetings the other day. But we have been going back and forth. Now, of course, I had Dan Murphy, our attorney, go through this. But then the group was using, I submitted, our recommendations to the committee. And because we had done that, they started using Shipman and Goodman, but we did not have a cost in the cost of that. They felt that Voluntown made a commitment. This has no date on it. I received it at the beginning of the week. And I believe that I just got a notice that they're editing one little paragraph. And I don't have that information with me. It just came out. Now, of course, Bosra has already voted to approve this, but we have a process where you go through and you have a first and a second reading. So, it would be good to, review this at that time. There's no signature pages and I can edit that in at the end, but, I will call the director of NFA and just say, we have the contract and, the board has now had a first reading. And if there's any little changes, I can give that to you in the, the next meeting.
What is different about this contract than the previous one?
This contract is from 2025 to 2030.
What's different in it though?
Oh, what's different?
Just.
There's really, a significant amount of things. I had several, there's been several edits. And if I showed you the original contract, first of all, it wouldn't be as lengthy. But the other thing is that there are some protections that we had, especially in the area of special ed services and some of the other things, Kathy. But point by point, all of the partner school districts, agreed that this represented what we wanted. If you want an item by item description, I would have to go back and copy the original and then give you some red inked copy.
The red line got it.
But I must say, this is like the 8th edition. And in the process, it might have been very interesting to try to explain that, but this has taken quite a lot of time with the partner school districts offering revisions and then coordinating things with Nate Quisnell.
So is there?
We can send the board a copy, a copy of the current NFA contract if you would like to be able to compare the differences.
Were there any significant differences that you were looking for, that you were able to
Oh, yeah,
achieve?
well, even last summer, and Nate listened to me, I went in and I said, you don't know the cost of your special ed. And he said, yes, I do. And I said, no, you can't tell me how much Voluntown is paying a person to one of our people to drive there and to be a paraprofessional. We're paying that. That's not in your budget. So what they did is they now hire the paraprofessionals and we work with purchase services so that we're not paying somebody a full 40 hours or 37 hours. If they're working with a student, we pay for, what is our portion. And that is working out quite well. And then there's some steps with special ed that I think have, really opened up some good cooperative planning approaches with some things. And then as you read through this, you'll take a look at coordination of services. And, NFA is looking as far as the cost of, the tuition and everything, to take on some of those responsibilities and not place them back on the school district.
Was there any change to the way that they determine tuition? Because I know it was
There were a
difficult
couple of
for.
discussions on that, of course, a few years ago, NFA increased their tuition by 7%. So there's some suggestions in there by, how can we, work with determining the tuition? And, I think that,
Is it October 1st?
The way that they determine how much
they're
we
gonna
pay.
continue with that, and the
Somebody
partner
with the
districts,
bonus, we still pay for.
yeah, the partner districts, agreed.
Right away, until the following year, which makes it hard to budget.
So, on page, 3, they have, total tuition cost procedures. So on page 3, Val, at the bottom, there's there's the procedures that they go to. And of course, they're still gonna use the prior year's October 1st,
Right.
census.
I
But
think they need to switch.
Maybe for the second reading, you could bring like a material changes from the last contract to this contract. Because you said this, we do two, first and second reading, so for next, this is our first, for the second reading. Maybe we could have just kind of an outline of the material changes of the contract.
yeah, I'll see what I can dig up. There's a progression of changes that did occur. But the big thing is to take a look at the previous contract and compare it to this. How could I put this? The revision process had a lot of, just little adjustments, but
That's that material, it's not like every.
Right, like I don't need to know if we added a semicolon, like that kind of stuff, just the material. You know what I mean? the
I
way-
don't, I don't
Yes.
quite see where this says they're going to provide the aid.
Yes, right.
They're probably keeping it up for a reason.
Yeah. I don't see where it says they're gonna provide BOT, PTF part of their tuition, because I thought that's what we were talking about.
Definitely the para, right? They
Yeah,
were-
but it said nothing about the parents, them employing the parents. And if there's something more, about that we can show what's different in this than the last one.
Yeah, we'll follow up on it for the.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's
With,
fine.
maybe with the attorney, he could do that.
You don't want them doing the markup.
Huh?
Want to pay them for the markup. Pretty. Just a Word document.
Yeah, just a generic.
Yeah, just.
Compare. Okay. Well, that's a good update on the contract. It's interesting to see where the other partner schools are, that they're already signing it, like that we're coming close to comfort level. They're not. We've got some time on the line to really finalize everything, so. We want to make sure it's right, and we feel comfortable with it. If we're comfortable to move on, item number 5, of business safety on Route 138. I think we're still at the, we got approvals on April 20 something, and the State Department has approved that have to take down our own lights. Does anything change?
So that's currently in Tracy's bucket can we maybe get an anticipated date timeframe? When do you anticipating that to be done?
Yeah, have you haven't heard anything from them? Oh, no.
And nothing's changed. I mean, it's not like they came down, and we didn't. Like.
Yeah, no, so
like,
they're waiting
obviously,
for us, we wouldn't wanna just have an idea of.
Yeah.
Towns.
I don't, nobody said. Yeah, that's. I guess. Thank you.
So, and number 6 is the administrative goals for 24-25. As we know, it's like administrative goals and VOE goals and several goals all kind of aligned, so it's good that we're having some time to review. I know, there's a revision, so not what was in the packet, we just provided us a separate version. And Dee Dee, for administrative goals, did we kind of go through and, so I know we're looking at the BOE goal.
Yeah, we had more.
Right.
But I mean, I was just sitting here again, like in paper, like there's a couple of things.
I italicized the change. Yeah.
Yes, they're like random, like both. Yes, but the Haggard, so you have to add, one of them is, the Eureka goes to K-5, but just back, Eureka goes to K-5. And
Oh,
it's Glencoe for the 6th grade.
thank you.
That's gonna be changed. What the other name, so what's? That's the one. Glencoe.
Oh. Is that listed under education program?
That, if you go down, yeah, program, the second bullet, just to make sure it's right. Yeah. You can cross out like the traits writing, like we implement a lot of different things, like this, just go to cross that one out, add Haggerty to the end of that. It's probably like the 5th time that I've read it and I'm noticing like these things. But yeah,
My math is gone.
my math is all replaced by Eureka, right, so.
Where do you want the Haggerty?
Afterwards, it says K-3, foundation's K-3, and it's
Okay.
okay here.
Okay,
And then up above, it says, Common Core state standards, get rid of CMC, there it's.
Okay.
Just that's that. Yeah, I was like, cross that out, yeah.
and the CTAA is okay?
That's the tuition assessment.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Get that copy. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the right reading. Don't check on hard work.
This one looks fun, but. I never read it like that before. Definitely, I think that's. Yes.
Now, are you in year 1 of Spanish, or how many years are we thinking?
Well, this would be year 1 of Spanish up in contract. Well, how this year. Oh, I would account, this was not a full-time year of Spanish.
Okay.
So they go to experience in 6, 7, 8, 6, 7. With the experience for 6, 7.
So her thought is, when I spoke to her a couple of times, that really the 6th and 7th really be, no, the 6th and the 8th. Would really be more exploratory type, because 8's gonna go issue. Right,
On to high school.
on to high school. 7 really would be where the Spanish 1 starts every year, so it'd be Spanish 1, 8 would be Spanish 2, but because our kids have been. And 8, next year we have had some limited Spanish, it really would be more like exploratory Spanish, so.
Long term, when we finish in 8th grade, they'll be ready to go.
I guess. Yeah. They don't want to take that, if they've done, you know,
If they've done well.
Yeah.
And.
or honor Spanish, I mean, like, our kids have taken honor French, based on the 2 years they've had, so I mean, that really hurts life. Yeah, so I mean.
Will we need to set books for them?
So she looked at the NFA for what the NFA model uses and she was the online components, and she said instead of order brushing and ordering a book, she'd rather just, you know, utilize that and purchase that first. I'm wondering if I pull those other French books out, I bring them, sell them. Yeah, okay, and what am I gonna use with them? And they're brand new, like, I hate to just, well, I can't get rid of them, but if I could sell them back to the publisher.
Trade them in.
Money, trade them in,
That's right.
yeah, like.
We say, we'll take some.
Yeah.
One tuition.
One tuition. Yeah. So. Yeah. Barter. One aid. What's a child? Yeah. So, but we gotta talk about that. So she's looking at NFA really to guide her process of where, because NFA was one of the ones that reached out about, not like some of their honors courses and what our kids need to come 8th grade, where they, if they choose NFA, we could have that. So she's not kind of.
Excellent. Like that collaboration, curriculums and so forth. Book gets seems to be a big thing. Right, so we're going to.
Is this a final meeting?
It's not a final, I think.
I mean, we still have time, I'm just.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just,
We can do it to the board.
It's good. I think, Arthur, correct me if I'm wrong, it's going to school climate, correct? It's no longer safe school. It's
Correct.
school, it's.
Right.
you would read that, yeah, I was gonna ask. you
So
that.
all those safes can come.
Yeah.
from DD, so we just gotta.
There's too many of the same documents. that-
Yeah, it's- I
repeat.
know, we're just used to saying it that way.
Yeah.
So are all of the changes on the back required changes? Is that why they're in italics on the
No,
back?
those are just
I think there's a
edits
recent
from,
added.
from Kate, Megan,
Yeah.
added things and Adam a little bit.
Yeah, like succession planning. Foster and Gator. Is there another one?
Yeah, I mean, these are just. You guys can read this, this is like, you know, bits that were just contributed very recently, so, you know,
Right.
like we can.
Yeah.
Kind of collectively, collaboratively wordsmith or, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right, especially under personnel relations. I'm not sure why some of that stuff was necessarily added in.
the diverse workforce,
Mhm.
that's, this is, like, we have to, we just submitted it. It's like a mandated plan that we just had got from the state.
Mhm.
And you have
That
to,
has to be in.
it doesn't have to, I mean, there's probably many things that are mandated that we don't explicitly say, but
That's just something recently.
it's
That's
very
just been
recent.
I educated them.
About recruiting, a diverse education.
I mean, prioritize, we can change, so, you know, what, I mean, obviously, like. What's it,
Just say
how do you wordsmith it without being like, that we're.
Focus
yeah,
on, you can just say focus on.
Or, you know, we have to be realistic about it, we've always been realistic about it and how we can do something like that, but it's, I'm sure the states can come down with more.
Direction. guidance.
Direction and guidance on,
Yeah.
on the
They sent us
steps.
5-page guidance when they sent the plan back,
Yeah.
and they said.
I did not look at that, I was not, I was a little concerned.
I mean, and sometimes they're out of touch, you can only get so many people, right? Even we met that with our last, we have 6 people for 3 positions, I mean, it's great on paper, but I think sometimes the state is just rose-colored glasses.
Right, and we have to sort it in our guidelines, but I think, you know, shared with the staffing, you know, procedure and. Kind of template.
Yep.
And that's gonna go in, whatever's gonna go with the state. You know, requirements, we have to kind of go forward with that, but that's updating our staffing policy, even how we hire and seek out talent.
I just hope that we always go, and this is not in either direction, but I just hope that we always go for the best possible candidate, regardless of
Mhm.
Yeah,
anything on paper, because we want to build the best, of course, diverse, but the best workforce that we have here. You know, we have excellent teachers. I never want to pigeonhole. And it almost feels like. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it alone, but.
Yeah, you can, I think it makes a lot of sense to. You know, think broadly about it and keep our, you know, our policies open to, you know, a broad breadth of. Reaching out as far as we can and giving enough time to see candidates across, you know. All demographics, like.
Of course,
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes we get in a forced situation where we're like, well, we just got this notice, we gotta go, you know, we gotta read it. And let's do it,
Yeah, because it can be age, gender, race.
It's demographically diverse, yeah.
Nationality, you know, or is it?
So do you want it to just say like attempt to build a demographically diverse workforce?
And I think that's what makes me nervous when we say things like.
That we're not, you know, attempt to build,
We are.
I do not wanna say we, you know, that we're not any of it. It's
No, but when we say, you know, at town meeting that we're looking to get a beginning teacher rather than one who's on a top step. Although, you know, we look at it financially speaking, that could almost be perceived as not being open to a diverse demographic. If you have an older teacher on a top step also applying.
Right,
So that's why I just kind of
but that goes to the, you know, our.
would want to be
openness,
careful
Yeah,
with
I think
the wording.
find the what way it's, I don't know how else you could word it.
I mean, maybe strive to build versus prioritize, so
I think attempt.
attempt, right, attempt might be another one, right? Cause well, prioritize, I think. Makes it look. Maybe you're reading it like that's the number one and then everything else, whereas like attempt or strive is more of like, we're gonna be cognizant of this stuff. But it's not gonna be the number one factor.
Right, and that's how I.
Yeah.
Policy.
No, it was just
I
suggested,
took it from the letter.
Oh,
From the state, like,
There's
in
a letter.
terms of what, like,
right?
framing it around, they're like, you know, thank you for your efforts to prioritize the, you
Right.
know, and so that's exactly what they're, you know, it's, we can
Yeah.
say what we wanna say with this, I think
It's
it's
good.
just as long as we're
Have it.
staying with the course of understanding that that's just something that we're obligated
Trying
to
to
do
do.
as a
Right.
system. But yeah, and then there, business plans, I know, Megan, you were putting in this kind of, that's gonna flow through more, if you wanna. It's just very broad.
Under business matters. or-
Yeah, that's correctly.
What does that refer to?
Yeah, so I mean, that's just, you know, not always doing something the same way because it's all the way we've always done. Like just looking at, and I mean, really, it's think outside the box, but I didn't think that sounded professional enough to be. Words to it. But yeah, I mean, that's really, you know, as we come into a more financial difficult climate and, you know, obviously the things that Amy and her team are faced with, I think we just need to really look outside the box and not just always do things the way we.
Should we add varied?
But it's not, I don't see it just
Varied
financial.
Varied ways to fulfill obligations, various, ways.
Well, so I put improved and or more effective.
You know, could be a new program. even.
Right, it's like, right, it's.
Changing
I-
job descriptions around.
Right, adding a Spanish teacher, it's just kind of, you know, I feel like we sometimes fall into it, just,
Yeah,
we've
a
got.
number of things, even
Right.
like the bookkeeping method, changing some job descriptions.
Right, how you were asking to see
Yeah.
the budget a little bit different, right, it's just. Just
Yeah.
fostering that kind of culture.
Idea that you can do something different than what we're doing. And stuff.
I don't know. If that you read that on there, or if I can try to tweak the wording, but if you don't feel like that's what it is.
But, and like, I'm trying to think of a different way to say outside the box, like you said.
Yeah, it's like outside. the
Like
box.
not extensive, but.
Yeah. This, I don't wanna be punitive on
Right.
existing, I don't wanna be punitive to find like a better, be open to other solutions, like that's, I think mine.
It's be open to solutions and seek other solutions, right?
Yeah.
It's being proactive about it. It could be technology, it could, like, it's just, it's everywhere, right? It's just always looking for
A better way.
A little different.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll play with that, but that's
Yeah,
just,
we
that's
can
a,
play
that's
with
a. And but that's gonna flow through to all of them, so that's like, it's not just in the,
So I think it's the something doesn't need to be. Business.
Right, so I did go back and forth on if it was business, right, but I was like. I mean, right, it really does kind of check
For everything, really.
everything, so.
Even for us under
students of the local board.
education program, you're always looking for better ways. And good amounts of leadership.
Yeah.
Program. People you get into different networks, and all that, this would be a better program for kids.
Yeah, I think, I think at one point I was like, you know, obviously support the YS, work for YSB, you guys do a great thing of that, but like also be mindful that there are like a few other, and can be more organizations within the town that we can be supportive of, like Scouts and the library and the rec commission that's not tied to the YSB, you know, like just to be, be know that all our kids in our school system are, you know, probably benefactors of all these different programs without getting too.
Too specific about each program.
Right, you know, just like.
Stop
community
listing them
programs.
and maybe I didn't get listed somewhere.
Right, I don't wanna, I don't really be like, I put the Scouts in, but I did not put rec commission,
Right,
so I
right.
don't, you know, we could feel like. I think, yeah, the.
Yeah, that's what I.
Local
I
community
tried to
or-
make it super.
I like that,
was
yeah.
trying to make it super vague.
Yeah. Okay, so that's good, so this goes to.
Second reading.
So go,
Reading.
this will go, no, fourth. It's okay.
This was presented first, because this one goes first to the teachers, but then it also ties into the board eval.
Right.
It then ties into goal, so it's like, we've been getting it iteratively, and this one's been hanging around, but once we nail it down, we're.
We need to nail it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Are we doing education goals next, or
Yeah.
the
Board of Ed. goals.
board about eval? Okay, so that's.
No,
very
Board of
similar.
Ed goals is
Oh,
next.
Yeah.
Right.
Education, Board of Education goal.
Yes. That one.
So we
So.
did our 27 readings of this. last
Yeah.
year.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So only,
There's only 10 added, we just added the five.
You added number five.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, which is the same language in the
Yeah.
other.
Correct,
one.
yes.
So I'm gonna make a motion to pass this one and get this one off the table.
Yeah.
You guys, we've seen it a few times and with
okay.
only one change, that would be good. Yep. Okay, I'm comfortable with that.
Got that?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Alright.
Motion passes to. Finish off the board of education goals for 2025. Thank you. Okay, and then the eval, board of education.
That's later.
eval.
It's later, but it's, you do
Oh,
it,
sorry.
if you want to do it now, I don't care. You could do a motion to move it now, seeing.
Motion to move the Board of Ed self-evaluation to new business.
Mhm.
I'll make the motion.
On your business, so. it's-
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Order to reject that great idea because you're on the same.
Right, right.
So where's it at? Okay, so we'll just quickly review this. I think, again, it ties very closely to, the administrative goals. There are areas that I think I just want Amy to kind of look at, and Dee Dee and I will just scrub it to make sure that it looks the same. For some of the programs that we're working on.
Didi on page 2.
Yeah.
Where it says RTI,
Okay,
we have to put in as above, supported the SLBI and.
Yeah.
And TSS, but no RTI.
okay, yeah. The whole line. Okay,
To that whole line first.
It's,
Yeah.
you could say supported. Well, for implement, you could say MTSS and then for supporting behavior, but RTI is not.
okay.
what it
I'll
is.
just pull it up. Do you want the SRBI out now? Cause that's kind of old language and just leave the MTSS.
Either one. I mean, next year, then she has.
Yeah, and we usually go.
We know what it is.
Right.
Yeah. No, I'll just get rid of that.
Out with the old, that's all I'm saying. If you want to leave it, one more year.
This is pretty tough.
School climate's all okay in this one. I think there was one safe one is. Okay, so it's-
If you wanna put an update under community relations, the next to that point. On page 2, where it talks about requesting additional signage, do we wanna update any of that, or are we gonna leave it as it is?
Hmm.
Was this, remember, this is like a review of last year's stuff. Then there's like the.
Right.
Page that has like our goals going forward for next year, but it's.
Yeah.
Going to that.
So then Dee Dee, when you go to edit, like, how we fix the first one from prioritize, same bullets and things, gotta make sure it's the same for,
Right.
right? On page 5.
For next year.
Except for strive for,
What, I didn't hear what you said.
where it was like strive for or attempt, whatever we decided in the first.
Okay, yep,
Just carry it over till it's.
yep,
Mimics.
right. Gotcha. This wording. Thank you.
Out of curiosity, who does this? Like. What is the draft? But yeah, like, who is the original?
It's the original, no, it's a long time draft here, and I think kind of a long draft, and it's added to it every year. So, yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Well, the board is required to do a self-evaluation, so
Yeah.
that's,
Well,
yeah.
so like,
Yeah.
something like. You know, private school practice with all community members are valued, except if you feel superior control, tips with our school system. And one of the bullets under there is that we supported 2-hour delayed openings and canceling school, like. That's just like super. I don't know.
Maybe show that, so yeah, with some.
Like, I don't know, I think we should focus a little more on. Some of the things that are a little less practical, and that's not for this year, but like maybe for next. I don't, we do this year.
Yeah, each year.
It's like individual little like these things and really like maybe. One of our meetings would be actually go through these things and actually talk about some of the things that we think we've done well and things that we could do better next year, that's less tactful. If the board is open to maybe considering that next year.
Highlight the big things.
Yeah, like the new math program, right, like just supported the new math program, and which I know is in here, but I feel like. With everything in here, it gets really washed away.
Like the expected abatement being done,
Right.
Spanish teacher being full
Right,
time now,
right.
like, they're big things.
Correct. I think, I personally would find it more rewarding to. Do that reflection once a year as this.
I think it's recommended by CABE to do a mid-year self-eval and then end of the year like we're doing now. It's twice a year. Well, mid-year is just to look at it, to say, are we in line and what else do we have to do for the next?
Yeah,
6
I
months?
think supplementary document that could be part of it, you know, it's like the highlight reel
Mhm.
of. What you're saying, like, I mean, I think it's helpful, it's a working document, maybe it's not, you know, it doesn't stamp and sign and formalize, but it's a working document of our. Our self-reflection, you know, and it's like, you know, what these goals look like, you know.
Supporting SRBI, and that's not.
I know, but it doesn't, like, let's do a one pager like summary sheet and like, and we can go off of that.
What we didn't need one sheet. We can highlight.
Yeah, we all took it and highlighted the things that we thought were great on the sheet, and then that became our.
Yeah, and also things that we would like to focus on in the fall, you know, maybe we didn't get to the, you know, fire department this year, but like we need that to be a top priority next year.
You know, all we did the yelling thing. And like, things like maintaining power school, that's just like a given as a part.
Right, like following the guidelines from Uncas Health, like who's gonna not follow?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you got to go. No. To go, man. I want to follow the guidelines. School safety committee, I'll tell you that.
It is impressive though, like you guys do give yourself a pat back, because this really like, this is all the stuff that you oversee and do.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
you really do,
Had a map.
you know, and you do support a lot of all those
We
measures.
do.
No, it's good. I think it's always good to look at it and this conversation and some of the additives, like, but it does bring to light, you know.
And even maybe in darker caps and stuff, what the things we think are important in each. And
I always say, it makes it, then you're not, this is what Dan Murphy said, you know, like when we were going over the just certain things, he's just like, I don't like things folded. I don't like things folded, I don't like things italicized, caps, not caps anything. That puts emphasis on something, you know, that you're on the line for, you know, and people, somebody say, why is that? I was like, I don't, you know what I'm saying, God, those.
It's a lawyer lens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like-
One or two bullets in each group, what we think are important, move them to the top. And stuff, so that it's not what's in the, within this, are we gonna approve that or?
I think we're gonna be one more time,
Yeah.
we have a lot of edits, I just wanna get it finalized and make sure
Okay.
that we're clean with,
Cause-
critical.
Do you want to move it to the next, or not, just on?
No, it's.
Let's just table it. It's all good.
Table. Okay. We look policy, safe school, now we're getting rid of safe school, getting rid of safe.
Because I think it's just we'll find it now, just so you know.
I got that out of this, which is probably.
Yeah.
See,
How come they get size?
So, I have a question.
All brands.
The lawyer's not looking closer.
Yeah.
Do we have to set aside like funding now for light restorative practice training now? They're making it, they're moving into kind of.
Yeah, I think by
that.
25, you have to do that, so
So we
we,
have to make sure we budget. for that.
yeah, because that's with Joanne Freiberg, I believe, from the state.
Okay.
Are they gonna give us the restore? Oh, God, no.
No, we're gonna have
They're
to,
gonna charge us.
like from Sierra or wherever.
Right, well, hopefully they do, but, so we just attended one actually. Not attended, but virtually myself, Andrea, Kelly and Rachel Sato on, it was like moving away from the bullying and, Keith and Joanne Freiberg did it, but on their website, it's all the listing, all the up and coming restorative trainings that she is gonna be doing that, you know.
They call it restorative, but it's, what is it?
Restorative practice.
Restorative practice.
So that'll be, that'll be like state.
One way to smack the bully down. Policy.
The opposite. I'm gonna be So like restorative practice is not, nothing, it was just the pendulum kind of swinging back, right? I like to see a mix.
And I have unsafe beat.
Right. So we will have to, I mean, you guys will have to.
You will
know,
have to.
And do those pieces, so,
PD monsters.
yeah, and our teachers have, they, in their contract are awarded. You provide them $300 a year to do training, so that's something that, you know, if they wanna seek out on their own, or we just do collectively together, we might have to spend. You know, a little bit to do it collectively, you know, when this comes.
Okay, I think that's money well spent, I mean, if we're.
It is.
We have to
I
kind of.
want everybody on the same page,
Yes.
same language, same page,
Well, it has to be a culture shift too.
correct.
A big culture shift. Yeah.
I think that's, you know, it's very important work, obviously, but it's going to be a magnitude of effort to get every, you know,
Yeah,
I think about our little system and, you know, how efficient we are at, you know, touching each person that has a child and coming together and having conversations like that, but think about huge systems, it's gotta be
and different,
building.
yeah, different places, Eastern Connecticut.
Who is our school climate specialist? You? Of course.
Yeah, because you also have SEL on top of restorative practices, on top of school.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, by 2024. Okay, sorry, okay. And,
Are we gonna be with them?
and, yeah, and then, we have an annual school climate survey, correct?
Yeah, we just finished, we pulled our winners yesterday, so I've been
Okay.
contacting
We're still doing that,
Frank
right?
and Tees.
Yeah.
To give prizes, so we filled it out, it was in our newsletter, we sent paper home, sent it back, so
Mhm.
we'll go over that, that's one of our plans for the 17th, like a small group of us.
Yeah, like,
for
does
climate
the school
committee.
kind of go over that?
Yeah, they'll
and
go
then
over
you-
that, compared to the fall one, we did the fall one with the same questions.
Okay.
So we have a fall survey, there's one adjustment we're gonna make, because we always say like, what grade levels are your children in?
Right.
But I'd like to leave it as, you know, please do one per your child, that kind of gives me a little bit more information.
Yeah.
You know, grade level wise, we are very small, so it's very hard to do a survey. You don't wanna be so pinpointed where you know, certain things, so that makes it a little difficult. You know, when you only have one class of one grade, that makes it,
Mhm.
you know, a little bit harder, but, so that's one tweak we're gonna make, so we're gonna go over that information on the 17th, I can bring that back, you know, sometime over the summer. Or when we roll into the next year, like here's the findings from this, and what, here are a couple of corrective actions or actions that we're gonna take to kind of, you know.
And from that survey, there's not really like a and place your comments here box, right? Like there's, on this, there's
on this,
yeah. So it's like, you've got the parents' attention and, you know, maybe not, you know, they're not really like bringing forth talking to the teacher, you know, like they don't feel comfortable or whatever.
I do get emails, so I've gotten a couple emails, like, I just wanna add this in, this one, you know, or something like, this wasn't this grade level, but this was this grade level, I just wanted you to know, like, and I'm very appreciative of that, because that helps me in planning then, you know, for the future, so that actually works better when people contact me directly, you know, after they complete the survey. And just kind of giving you know, what they're thinking when you fill it out, because you don't really know, when you do one of those Likert scales, it's hard to tell, right? Like, if you're a 3, why are you a 3? So that makes it complicated also.
Right, that's what I mean, like.
You're
I'm like,
assuming why something, you know, you're analyzing it, like what, you know, so.
I think it's, yeah, I think that'd be hard to look at and understand kind of what that scale
Right.
actually means, like 1, and you're like, well, that 1, great, you know, I have no more color around that, but
Right.
my child is no safe person to talk to at school, you know, it's.
Survey. It's hard.
It's hard.
Based on
Yeah.
satisfied, dissatisfied, very dissatisfied.
Right.
Yes.
You know, it's.
But I guess if you compile them all together and you know what your like general, you know.
Consensus is,
Consensus
right?
is,
Yeah.
you know, we're a little low here and we're, you know, I feel like we're pretty like, kudos to us for feeling like this, whatever.
Yeah.
And then kind of maybe then there's a focus group that goes out and says like, all right, you know, this
This is
25 families, like, we're just doing something because we're
Right.
working on this element and that's great, okay. Enough of that, but how about this particular policy? Or, I mean, it feels like it's doing a sea change in a bit, so. Is it all mandated?
This is from Kate, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had another one, the last one, and all of that out.
Right.
yeah, I just cleaned it up for this,
Yeah.
yeah, because this is the 3rd, I just thought I'd clean it up, sorry.
It's a question.
Okay. Are we happy with it?
Yeah, I think it was better compared to last time, yeah. Motion.
Okay.
Any discussion? Heard, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Heard, motion carries. Okay. We'll put that on. on to new business, personnel, you see the, letter. Mrs. Whitworth,
Which one?
for Mrs. Whitworth, that she's,
Yeah,
resigning.
We have a series of motions, Kate.
Yeah,
Yes, so we-
I'm just looking at my letter.
Here,
Okay.
you've got it over there.
Yes, but with regret.
I know, okay.
Yeah.
And I have a correction on the second one, so you know, when you get.
Do you have a motion to accept the resignation with regret of Martha Whitworth as a paraeducator?
Motion.
Second. In favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congrats, any opposed? Unheard, motion passes.
Okay, on the next one, you have to add Darlena Laranger as well.
A motion to approve Jessica Miller and Valina Laranger as a van driver.
Right.
Motion.
Second.
I missed.
Driving the van.
Yes.
No.
No.
I don't know.
That's a very drive.
That's right. I was gonna say, well, cheer, right?
As a van.
Oh,
driver.
that's right.
If,
Oh, Richie.
because we're short, if there's a need.
He used to be a bus driver. Well, you know,
As the history, she has her driver's license, which is probably nice to do. Okay, all in favor? Unheard, motion passes. We will take all and every driver. You have a heart rate and a license for it.
Oh, yeah, that's right, that's right.
License, so. Okay, motion to approve Margaret Boland as the athletic director.
Motion. Second, approve it.
It's early.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, unheard, motion passes. Motion to approve Amanda Gould as the music director.
Motion.
Favor?
Aye.
Opposed, unheard, motion passes. Motion to approve Stephanie Santos as a pre-K teacher.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, unheard, congratulations Stephanie Santos to be our new pre-K teacher. Okay, did I say motion passes? Because I did. Okay, there you go. Sorry, got excited there. Motion to approve Angela Orzel as a kindergarten teacher.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none heard. Congratulations to Angela Orzel as our new kindergarten teacher. All in favor, or motion. And lastly, a motion to approve a Jennifer Service as a second grade teacher.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? All in favor? Aye. None, no opposed, motion passes. Welcome Jennifer Service as a second. Okay, that's it on the motion. So we're excited to have our hires. Thank you to everyone that participated in the hiring process and forward to new staff, and thank you in advance to all those that are helping coaching.
All of the salary agreements will be sent out to all.
Okay. Okay, faculty and staff updated.
Yes, did you have a listing in your packet?
Yes.
Yes, it was,
Yes, that's just a standard listing of where we are. We're still looking for an intern from Sacred Heart University. We still need, we just, heard with van drivers who's training to be a bus driver. But we still have one of the bus driver position to fill. And,
yeah, there hasn't been any movement on that, right, like. Well, I think it's something that's being not that
But I could put a little thing on it, I got a car seat. Put some of your kids in it, you learn some. You take batteries there. Adam did drive, Adam did drive a bus, he could drive a bus at 10.
Get you out there. We'll get you out there driving.
Yes,
I just got in my household, the Stonington, like Como does you know, a driver training update, you know, like, so you can go, like, and sign up and say like, I should probably like re up my driving skills, like, that's like, okay, give to that me. I'm like, you probably like, we should like all just like stop the book, make sure that we're up to date since 16. We think we're still. I'm sorry. Okay, well, I really hope that we.
And we're working on soccer coaches is listed, so I did an inventory today of kids, like who's really committed to playing soccer. And so we have a great list. We have to find, so it is out posted, but I'm now just for it, now that I know that there are kids, I don't wanna get somebody there. It costs, if you're not an educator, it costs probably about almost $500 to do the certification, because you're not, when you're a teacher, it costs you $150, you're just doing the components. That's the difference, so somebody would really have to be invested long term, if they're gonna spend that kind of money, over $400. And what do it? 5 to 8. It starts 6, 7, 8, and then we allow 5 when, like, it just depends on numbers. Yeah. Soccer typically ends up being 5 because it's not always so many kids. You really need like a lower team, you know, to build kind of build up, right? You want to give. Some of your kids raised their hands today, so I just want you guys to know. So, just so you know, there's still, there's a lot of pressure out there. I love it. They want to sign up for everything, and they also, Amanda had told them today, oh, don't forget, you, and they were like, yay. So, yeah, you can do everything. All of them did that. I'm really excited that there's, obviously interest in, that we are supporting besides, I think collectively we're all about that. Yeah, and so we do have some people interested, but like I said, one is a non-educator, that it's just expensive, so maybe we need to ways that we can support that, and that person's willing to commit to us. Yeah, right. For a couple of years, that's worth it to be,
Right, and is there any way we can work with the rec or some, the town to host the boards?
it's difficult when you work and you have to, right, that you have to be here for 3:20 to get out of school. Yes, it happened for students, yes.
Yes. Okay, all right. That covers the faculty and staff. We did the Board of Ed evaluation.
Yeah.
And of course, the superintendent coach.
Make executive session. Do we have to go to executive session for that? It says,
Yes, I believe so.
Anticipated.
Like the superintendent, and for the purpose
you.
of discussing the superintendent's evaluation, administrative contract, and an update from the Board of Ed negotiation team.
We'll go to a regular Board of Ed meeting now scheduled for Thursday, July 11th. That stands. I know, because we're early right now. We didn't know whether we'd have to go. Okay, so
didn't know if we'd be swimming.
Yes.
that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, it's whether we're. Somebody said they weren't here. I feel like Val said she wasn't here.
I'm not July.
No, I wasn't gonna be here if we kept the 13th because Jack's graduating.
July.
No, June.
Oh,
this, she goes that.
You're all set for
Yeah,
July.
July.
The Kathy can't do it. I'm available. let us know. Okay. Okay, so, do a motion to invite, the superintendent into.
do you wanna-
executive session?
Okay.
What would you like?
I was just gonna say to move his eval into,
A motion to move the, superintendent evaluation for 23-24 into executive session.
Motion. Second.
On favor?
Aye.
and then to move into it. I'm sorry. I don't made a mistake.
Should pass it, okay, then we need a motion to,
Move into.
invite superintendent into executive session.
And move into it.
So.
Right.
We don't need one to move into it, it's the odd thing,
Okay.
yeah, so it's just, that would invite him.
Motion. Second, whatever.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, very good, all right, thank you so much for coming, thank you, Amy. Thank you.